Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today I will be beating Dark Souls 2 as a Hexer only. The rules are very simple. I can only use Hexes as my source of damage. And that's really the whole rule set. On to my character creation. I name myself Hexer. Accidentally delete my name there, but it's all good. But yeah, no. And then I also do no character creation as usual, because I never. But my class is Sorcerer, and my gift is the Bonfire Aesthetic, because the Bonfire Aesthetic is just the best gift to choose. And because we do not start with any hexes, we have to cheese the Dragon Rider, so he goes down pretty quickly. And then we move to the Huntsman's Copse to get the hexes. And the reason I'm redoing this is because the audio glitched out, so it might be a little weird. It's not how I usually do things, but yeah, I just buy Dark Orb here. That's all I buy. I just kind of looked at all the other spells, but nothing crazy happened. Moving on. I'll pull up to the last Giant's arena, and I gun him down with Dark Orb, because that's really all you need to win here, is just hit him with Dark Orb. I was able to just shoot at his torso anyway, and I can just bait out attacks, back away from him. I mean, this game is really easy if you just spam spells. Like, this is how you win, fellas. If you're not good at the game, just play as a Hexer. Just the way to win. I almost died there, don't worry about that one. I clutched up. I weaved between the legs, I almost died there too, but don't worry about that one either. But we made it. Wait, no we didn't. No we didn't. Alright, moving on. After clenching so hard, because I thought I was about to get slammed out of the animation there, I get to Pursuer. I see that does 89 damage, and I just get him to stand in front of this crossbow for me so I can whack off all of his HP. Because I was not going to tickle him with Dark Orb for 15 minutes straight. I try to go for it again because I'm greedy, but he ends up just breaking it, so I just end up having to got him down with Dark Orb the rest of the way, which isn't too bad because he has like 3 HP points, but I do get hit by that, which is just Dark Souls 2 right there. But I do make it through eventually after almost getting Dark Souls 2 there. Moving on. Next, I tried to attempt Rune Sentinels, but I just didn't have enough like spell casts to actually kill them here, because I just wasn't gonna be able to. Like, I had like 20 Dark Orbs total. That wasn't gonna be enough to gun them all down. So I tried my best, but I think here in a second I fall off, and then I just get jumped by all 3 of them, and then it's just over after that, because it wasn't doing much damage, because I think they've got to be like somewhat resistant to dark, yeah, but it didn't go well. Moving on. Instead of Rune Sentinels, I decided to take on Flexile Sentry so I can try to get some more levels before taking on the trio fight, but these guys are not too difficult to take down. It's kind of just like let them attack, dodge behind them, and then pop a Dark Orb. I was honestly kind of thinking that this wasn't gonna be enough, but luckily, it was like just enough. I think I was like a couple off of running out here. Oh wait, no, I do have to refill, but I mean they're attack pattern's so easy that I can just slide it in whenever. But yeah, no, luckily I had some amber herbs that I picked up, or I don't know if you start with them as a sorcerer, I can't really tell you that, but yeah, no, after getting some more spells in me, I'm able to take him out. Moving on. After hitting 20 faith and 20 intellect, I'm able to go collect the Sunset Staff, which will be the staff I use for this whole run, in the Hexer set. Which the only thing that matters there is the hood, because it gives you increased spells, but I would grab this if you're doing this run. Moving on. I go through the back way that I unlocked by killing Flexile Sentry through Lost Bastille, so I'm able to free Strayed so I can buy hexes off him. Unfortunately, I die here, but I go buy hexes here in a second. After making it back to Strayed, I light the bonfire so I can teleport back here later, and I buy Dark Hail, which is basically like Dark Beat from DS1 if you've played DS1. It just shoots out like a shotgun. It's pretty good if you just like stand right on top of the enemy you're using it on. Moving on. After quite a bit of struggle here, and it was quite a bit, as you can see, I tried to firebomb it, and then I ended up just hitting it with a torch. I finally unlocked McDuff's blacksmith area because I needed it to upgrade, well, basically everything, because I also need it for infusion later. But moving on. After upgrading my staff a bit, I go ahead and also buy Dark Fog, which basically carries me through the Ruined Sentinel fight. Moving on. Although before Ruined Sentinels, I decided to take on Lost Sinner, which took me a couple of tries, mainly because I didn't really like the lights this time, so I couldn't really see her attacks at the beginning, but then I just turned on my brightness a little bit so I could actually see what was going on. But, yeah, the fight wasn't too hard. It was mainly just a back and forth. Like, I'd get hit, I'd just, like, dodge, heal, then I'd just start, like, spamming spells till I got hit. And then as soon as I got hit, I would back up and heal. I also had some Amber Herbs ready to go, but, I don't think I needed to use any of them. But I definitely should not have brought Dark Fog into this fight because, it was not good at all because the Lost Sinner does not stand still. So it's like impossible to get the poison to proc. Because like here at the end you can see me try to like proc the poison, but I realize it's just not gonna work. So I just decide to go back to the classic Dark Orb. Because honestly, for most things, you should just be using Dark Orb anyway, if you're a Hexer. But yeah, no. After quite a few Dark Orbs, the Lost Sinner goes down. Moving on. Now it's time to take down the Ruined Sentinels and just finish off this area. So, get it started, hit a Dark Fog, and it's only one fog for a poison proc. And look how much, because poison's way too strong in this game, like honestly. And so it just drains their health, and so I'm able to just spam them, and then I'm also just doing more Dark Orb damage now, so that's just good. I'm able to poison that guy while he's just trying to jump up to me, like I didn't even, and then I just gunned him down up here. I'm pretty sure I almost kill him up there before I end up falling down and running from that guy, but yeah. Because he's basically dead back there. I hit him like, or I think he gets poisoned there. Yeah, he gets poisoned there and he just dies because of it. And so I can just focus on the last guy, which he hits me good there, but other than that, I'm able to just stay back, and because his health's getting drained by the poison, all I need to do is hit him with like 5 Dark Orbs and he goes down. But no, Dark Fog definitely carried here. Without that, it would have been a lot longer. Moving on. On to the Belfry Gargoyles, I think. Just Bell Gargoyles Part 2. Yeah, they are not too difficult. They can be poisoned, shockingly. I was going in thinking that maybe they could, maybe they couldn't, because they are stone statues after all, but I think it takes 2 procs though, yeah. It's like a little over 1 proc gets them. But yeah, no, as soon as I get poison on the guys that are out, they basically just die off of 1 proc and like 1 like Dark Orb. So I'm able to keep them pretty thinned out for the most part, but I mean, this was probably the most I was fighting at a given time was 3 right there. But yeah, no, it was not too difficult. Just the poison basically killed them for me. All I needed to do was just run around and dodge their attacks. But after not too long, I was able to finally take them out. But this fight's just kind of annoying because it's just, if it wasn't for Dark Fog here allowing me to just run around while they just get tick damage, it definitely would have been a lot more annoying with the cast times. But moving on. After that fight, I move on to the Shaded Woods, Shaded Ruins, whatever, and I use the Fragrant Branch to get back here and get the Line Mage set along with another Fragrant Branch, so you don't actually spend one, but you get the Line Mage set, which it's less defense than the Hexer set, but it gives you a bonus to damage, I'm pretty sure, so I wear it. Moving on. Now this fight isn't super difficult. It does kind of get annoying because when I'm at a distance shooting spells, she has a tendency to just retaliate in spells. I also tried to poison, which was not a good idea, but I eventually learned from that and just got back on the Dark Orb, which the Dark Orb carries. Like, that's on it, like, I really wish Hexer was, like, more, like, had more depth than just spam Dark Orb, but that's really what it was. Like, I was expecting more, I guess. I don't really know. But it definitely isn't like pyromancy where like you, or like any other sorcery like class really. So I kind of see why they kind of got rid of it in Dark Souls 3. Because they just added like dark sorceries, which I mean kind of makes more sense than just having hexes. But I mean, I definitely think it was a cool idea. But if they just like, if they evolved on it more, it would have been nice, for sure. But yeah, no, as you can probably tell by the topic of conversation, this fight's not really eventful. It's just like firing back and forth. As soon as she goes underground, sit in a spot for about 30 seconds, and then she'll pop up and just spam. Like, the fights are nothing special until we hit the DLCs. Which, once again, I didn't do the, like, double King's Pet fight, but, I'll be shocked if I ever do that fight ever again, because it was awful the first time, and I just can't bring myself to do it again. But everybody else is here, even, the other guy. Moving on. I skipped over Royal Rat Authority, but I will go back for him, don't worry. And also the other guy I was talking about was Dark Lurker, or whatever his name is. I killed him this time around, and I forgot him last time. But as you can see, Congregation isn't much to look at, and Poison, or Dark Fog, just annihilates them. Moving on. I put this one at 4 times because it was just too long. Like, I just was talking through this on 2 times speed, and it hit like 2 minutes. So I decided I would just make it 4 times, because it's not eventful. Because it's literally just me running around the spider and just like popping Twilight Herbs because I just don't have enough spell casts. Like, this fight is what made me realize that I need to get more spell casts so I can actually take on the rest of the bosses without being just out of spells the whole time. But yeah, no, this fight is horribly uneventful. It's literally just me running in circles, praying for dear life, and just like barrel stuffing the spider with my magic staff. But yeah, no, there really wasn't much to see here. So yeah, no, I couldn't believe that the fight took this long. I didn't think it was actually this long, but yeah, no, the fight did take a hot minute, but after a while I was able to finally take him down. Moving on. I was not worried one bit about Royal Rat Authority. Or Royal Rat, I think this is Vanguard, I don't really know. Or this one, you know which one I'm talking about. The other one I wasn't really afraid of either, but it's just an annoying fight, because I always die like 3 times, because of all the little poison dogs just unlocking me. But, yeah, okay, this is Vanguard, yeah, not too hard though. As soon as I figure out that it's him in the back of the room, he goes down in like 3 hits. I don't know why I cast a Dark Fog there, actually. I don't even know why I have Dark Fog equipped for this fight, but it doesn't really matter. He goes down pretty quick. Moving on. Now at the Rotten, which surprisingly can be poisoned, by the way, if you did not know, even though he's literally just like a mass of rotten flesh. He can be poisoned. Which, I mean, it does really good damage, because once again, poison is like probably one of the best damage sources in this video game. But yeah, Rotten's really easy because he has a grand total of 3 attacks. But sometimes when casting that Dark Fog, it makes it hard to see his attacks coming, so I sometimes get screwed up there. But, and then also with how big he is, I can basically shoot Dark Hail from anywhere and hit every single pellet, getting pretty good damage. But yeah, the Rotten is not too hard. It's probably like one of the easiest bosses in the game as soon as you know his 5 attacks. Moving on. I killed the 2 giants below, and then I went to talk to this fella so I could join the Pilgrims of Dark later after I talked to him 2 more times, but this is the first one in Black Gulch. Moving on. onto the third location or the second location of this guy. Third location being in Drangleic Castle, which we cannot access yet, but I will show you when we get there. But moving on. On to Executioner's Chariot, which is always I always hate this fight just because like half of the fight is just getting all the skeletons killed. But luckily at this point in the game I like one-shot them for the most part because I've done like every single Lord Soul first. And so I'm in a pretty good position for this fight. Also, I know I just used my staff as an attack there. I said only hexes. It technically is a hex because it's the thing I used to cast him. So we're going to count that. We're not ending my run over a staff hit. Because I think I've done that multiple times throughout the run. So if you really want to call it invalid, you can. But honestly, speaking of staff damage, that might be the next challenge I do in this game. Just like what I did in Dark Souls 1, staff damage only. I just don't know if it's going to be as good as it was in Dark Souls 1. Because Dark Souls 1, it was actually surprisingly good. Like, other than the fact that you couldn't really riposte with it, which makes perfect sense, it was a pretty good weapon option. Especially early game. Like, I'd honestly use it early game. But on to the actual boss now that we can fight him. Not too hard, because he has, like, an attack, like a charge attack and a fire breath attack. And once again, we are over leveled for this fight, so he like falls over like paper mache. So nothing too crazy, and then you also can poison him, which was kind of excessive. But yeah, he's dead. Moving on. I went and retrieved the key for this area. I actually don't know what the footage for it went, but basically just go towards the skeleton lords, like along the like cliff passage. And then there'll be like a split near the end where you go left or right. Go left and you'll reach a little plateau area where an invader will show up. And the key is just sitting on the ground in front of where the invader will show up. That's where it is. Moving on. The path to the key is the one that was right on my left right there. Just kind of hug that cliffside as soon as you see that run up there. On the body in front of the invader that'll spawn in. That's where the key is. Just grab it. So you can get that bonfire back there for an easy run back just in case you die here. Because you can just get ganked here, which happens a lot. But yeah, no, my strategy is just to kill the bone wheel guy first. And just kill the 2 bone wheels as soon as they spawn. And then just kill the other 2 and just play it like you're playing zombies. And just run around the room. I think this time I only just killed that one. And then I think I actually do it one at a time here, which is probably smarter, but most of the time I usually just kill both of them. But it definitely is better to deal with just one slightly bigger guy. But I think I accidentally kill him right there. Yeah, there we go, he goes down. And then I'm able to finish that guy off, and then it's just all of them left, which I one-shot them, I think. Or close to it, but they're fairly weak. I'm able to get all those little skelly bones down eventually after enough shooting. It's just, this fight is just kind of annoying when you get ganked by all of them, but I mean, it's not awful because they're fairly weak. But moving on. On to Covetous Demon, the hardest fight in the game. I barely scraped by this time around. It was looking tragic. No, honestly, this fight's really easy. I think I even had an animation locked here for a second, but he got me. Oh wait, I thought he got me with that. No, he got me with that part. I know he hit me at some point, but after he hit me once, he couldn't hit me twice. Moving on. Before taking on Mytha, I would hop up here to this little ledge and get the secret bonfire up here. There's also a chest, I think, on the opposite side in the same place, but I don't remember what's in there. I don't think it's useful. Moving on. Mytha was not difficult, but getting to her was, because she has like 2 guys who just body blocked the door, and I got stun locked by them and died. That was the only time I died on this boss, technically. It's just the run back. But yeah, no, the fight's definitely not hard at all, especially because at least she seems fairly weak to dark damage, because her health is getting absolutely chunked by Dark Orb. But yeah, no, she goes down pretty easy. Moving on. Smelter Demon itself was not too hard, but you know it was hard. of a run back, or just really getting there in the first place. Not really much of a run back, because I really only died to it once. But I hate, like, the only way I can get through this area feasibly is clearing it out by, like, having the enemies despawn. Like, that's the easiest way I've just found to consistently be able, like, clear out the first half, so I can just run up, and as soon as it's to the bridge, I kind of just start running past all of them until I make it to the thing. But it's mainly that first area where you need to clear them all out. But yeah, Smelter Demon isn't too hard. Don't worry, I didn't explain much going on, but we will be fighting him later. Moving on. Old Iron King was not very difficult to take down. He was pretty, he just knocks me off all the time. Like, I think my hardest, like, the hardest time I have with this boss fight is just the positioning, because I usually end up just getting myself stuck in the rightmost corner. Like, that, the corner I'm in right now, that's where I always end up getting myself stuck, like, dodging his attacks, and then he'll just do something crazy and I just can't move. But yeah, no, I mean, this wasn't too hard, especially because I could poison him. It did take 2 Dark Fogs to poison him, but he stands still, so it's pretty easy to get a Dark Fog off on him and just let him decay. But yeah, no. Once again, poison's just insane. But yeah, moving on. After making it through the first half of Drain Leg, or this isn't really the first half, this is like the first section, I make it to the third area to join the Pilgrim of Dark. And by doing this, 1, I unlock this guy as a merchant, and 2, I get the Abyss Ring, or the Abyss Seal, which increases hex damage at the cost of 30 health cast, which I wear to this point forward because it's just not that much health, especially if you just constantly pop life gems. It's a good exchange for sure. But moving on. Honestly, if Duo Dragon Rider wasn't like on the main path of the game, I bet everybody would forget about this fight. Because the first one's already forgettable. Honestly, the first one's kind of iconic with the fact that you can like cheese the boss for like 3 souls at the beginning of the game. But this one's just kind of boring, because it's like a boss that you've already seen that was like really easy with 10 attacks total. Actually, more like 5. But yeah, I don't know why they had to add this here, but it wasn't awful. It's just kind of annoying sometimes, because they'll sync up their attacks perfectly and like swing through each other because their weapons are so long, and then you end up just getting stun locked by all of them. But luckily it didn't happen this time around, and I was able to take him out pretty quickly. But Looking Glass Knight was fairly easy, especially because he is at least somewhat weak to, or he's susceptible to poison after like 2 casts of Dark Fog, I think. And he is also at least kind of weak to Dark by the looks of it. Like, my Dark Orb does solid damage to this guy, that's what counts. He is getting hit pretty hard out here. But, yeah, no, it definitely was really easy. I was even able to basically take him out, like, as he summoned he summoned an extra guy, because as you can see here, he's taking a while to summon. And then I just drop some Dark Fogs on him, get poison procced on him, and I just kind of gun him down. And then, yeah, back there, he's basically dead at that point. Yeah, as soon as I get that Dark Orb on him, he's dead. Moving on. Shrine of Amana was awful, but, I mean, at least I was able to make it to the boss. And at least the boss is easy, and Dark Fog just is like the way to win, because it just goes through the shell, and then you can just like run around and let the poison do the work. But because I have ranged spells anyway, I might as well just pepper the boss while I have the chance to just do extra damage. But yeah, no. This fight's really easy, but the area's just god-awful, man. I just hate Shrine of Amana. Moving on. After getting absolutely pummeled the first time around, lock in and beat up Velstaff. I was kind of scared here because I thought he was going to be fairly resistant to Dark, but that's still fairly good damage. Like, honestly, the thing I realized throughout this game is, like, I kept expecting the bosses to be somewhat resistant to dark. But when they are resistant to dark, they're never resistant enough. Like, you just do so much raw damage anyway that you're at least doing 200 a shot either way. But yeah, no. And then also poison works on this guy, which just makes it even easier, because every time poison works on an enemy, it just speeds up the fight by like 2% or 200%. It's just so good. Because poison is just incredible in this game. It's just incredible. Honestly, I might do a poison only run, but I don't really know how that would work, because I don't think I can do raw poison damage, but really not. Now this time around, I was actually looking forward to Guardian Dragon, because I could get my get back from when I did Fists only, and just shoot him out of the sky, even though I didn't really shoot him while he was airborne much, because I was afraid that the Dark Orb wouldn't reach, and as you can see there, it didn't really reach. Like, it probably would have reached if I was standing like right under him, but my Dark Orbs do enough damage per shot that I don't really need to shoot him up there. I can just wait for him to land and just rail him. Moving on. I decided to go kill Ancient Dragon before fighting Vendrick, just so I could have all five Giant Souls, even though it probably wasn't very necessary for me to have all of them. I thought it would just be like an extra measure I probably should have. Here I thought I was going to die because of that fire, but luckily I was able to just spam dodge roll and just survive somehow. But yeah, no, this fight actually gave me quite a bit of trouble, because like despite me doing the strat, I would always just get killed when he would fly up and breathe fire, because I would be locked onto the leg to make sure I wouldn't miss, because like sometimes I was not locked on, and my guy would just like kind of look to the side for a second and shoot off his spell for some reason. I don't really know why he was doing that, so I had to lock on to actually hit him. But that just made it so when he would fly up in the air, my camera would like glitch out unless I locked off at the right time. But yeah, no. Luckily it wasn't too bad. Tried to play it really safe too by not like spamming spells so I don't get like stuck in an animation. I try to just kind of slowly do a little bit of damage. And I mean, there really isn't much to see for the strat. It's kind of just shoot until you make it, man. Honestly, I was shocked that this was one of my shorter fights too, because I think some other fights were longer than this one for some reason. I think my Freya fight was actually longer than this one, which was kind of shocking, but yeah, that was about it for Ancient Dragon. Moving on. I went to the 2 other giant memories to grab those giant souls, and then I went and took on the giant lord for his giant soul, and luckily he's no different than the last giant. He's able to go down fairly swiftly. You can kind of just chunk his health, because luckily he's at least somewhat weak to dark. He must be, because 500 damage a shot is pretty good. But yeah, no, and then I don't think I was able to poison him here. I mean, maybe if I just start spamming dark. Oh, there we go, I got the poison off. And as soon as the poison was off, it was basically over for that guy. But yeah, not too difficult. But then that got me my last giant soul. Moving on. I'm doing another 4 times speed fight because Vendrick took forever. Number 1, I don't think you can poison him. I tried. Unless you just need like an unholy amount of dark fogs to make it happen. And then number 2, he just hits like a truck, so I basically have to like no hit him. Like I can get hit once, and then if I have a full health bar, I can afford to get hit like once. Otherwise, I'm dead. But yeah, and that's like with his weaker attacks. And then also, it's just like he has an unholy amount of health, so I'm just like spamming Dark Orb, and I'm doing like 300 a shot, which is solid, but it's like, it's taking me like 30 Dark Orbs to kill this guy. So he just has an unholy amount of health. Like, I don't know why he has so much health. But, I mean, it's not too difficult to take him down because he has like 3 attacks. But after a while he goes down. Moving on. On to Throne Watcher and Defender. These people were not too difficult, especially because they could be poisoned quite easily. And Throne Watcher seems to be fairly weak to poison, and also just fairly weak in general. So I'm able to like 3-tap them, and they go down fairly quickly. And then now it's just Throne Defender, and as soon as there's one in this fight, it's really easy. Like, only fighting one of these people are really easy. It's just hard when they both attack you and start stun locking you. That's when this fight gets challenging. But that just doesn't happen here, because I'm able to kill them so fast. Moving on to Nishandra up next. Nishandra is not too difficult, especially because if you just like stay like under her, she really can't hit you with any of the powerful lasers. I tried to poison here, but I'm honestly not shocked. Oh wait, it does work. Oh, yeah, it does work. Never mind. I didn't think that it worked. But yeah, no, poison works. Use poison here. And then just spam Dark Orb and Dark Hail because you're like right under her anyway. Honestly, it'd almost be better if you locked, like I did that for a second. I locked off and just like Dark Hailed like down and into her body, but I mean, because that did a lot more damage than the Dark Orb just facing up. It's really inconsistent though, as you can see. Like I just hit 3 different damage numbers there with Dark Hail, but with the boss being so big, it's probably the better option because you can hit some crazy damage numbers with it. Now on to Aldia. I actually died on Aldia because I forgot how one of his attacks went and it got me killed. So on to second try of Aldia. He's not too difficult. I have it in 4 times speed because the fight isn't very riveting. It's mainly just I get like 2 attacks in and then I dodge everything he throws at me. And then he teleports, and then I get my attacks in, and then that's the same cycle. Unless he does like a big attack where he drops his flame wall, like right there. Get some extra damage in there, but that's really about it. Definitely helps that I have ranged attacks, so I don't need to be close to him every time he teleports, just so I can do damage. So I can kind of just like chill out in the middle, and just as long as he's not teleporting to the middle, I can just run around. But I think as soon as that flame wall heightens, I do less damage when it's up, but I wasn't really shooting while his thing was up anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, no, he started to spawn in the middle, so I just kind of circled him on the outside, and eventually after a while just peppering this guy and dodging projectiles, I finally took him out after ages, man. This fight's a minute 20 in 4 times speed. Moving on. Now this time around I chose the other ending that I didn't choose last time, the one where you leave the throne, because last time the only one I could choose was the throne because I didn't kill Aldia. But yeah, that's the base game, excluding a couple of guys, but I will get them here in a second. But thank you for watching this far, but don't turn the video off just yet, because I have the rest of the bosses, except for the cat duo, for the rest of the video. So, but if you've enjoyed so far, maybe drop a like and maybe subscribe. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and enjoy what's yet to come. On to Royal Rat Authority. Nothing much to say here. It's an awful boss, don't get me wrong. I really hate how they had to include one of the worst enemy types in the game and make it so they dealt poison damage and like half of your meter in poison damage every time they hit you, which is just my favorite, right? And but yeah, no, on to the actual boss. It literally goes down in like 5 swings, or not 5 swings, 5 spells. But this boss is just annoying, man, but it's nothing too crazy. I really like how you can get around it in normal gameplay, but I have to kill it for the video. Moving on. On to the 3 Chasms of Old. You need to do all 3 to get the Dark Lurker fight. You need to light all 3 of the like big lights in each of them. well, there's 1 per 3 total. You just need to do 1 in each, and then if you complete the Chasm of Old and leave, it'll put you in the Dark Lurker arena. And that's about it to access that guy. Well, you need to like talk to the guy in all 3 locations, but you need to get to all 3 of them to do the fight anyway. But yeah, no, these are the lights to light. But moving on to the second one. The second chasm was nothing special either. This turtle man was quite annoying because he dealt half of my health bar in 1 hit, but running past them worked for the time being. But to complete the chasm, you have to fully clear it out. But I just decided that I didn't really know the layout beforehand, so I kind of was just winging it this whole time. But I ran on ahead. Luckily, the people at the start of the room did not follow me, and most of them were able to de-aggro on me. So then I was able to push back up to the beginning of the room and get them from the back. And also I was able to poison them too, which really helped. But yeah, no, after just kind of spamming them down, they got taken out eventually. It wasn't too bad, but this one was definitely quite the doozy. And then the lamp is in an offshoot over this way, yeah. And then I just used flame butterflies. I just had enough. I don't really know where you get them. But that's how you do the second one. Moving on. In the last chasm, it's nothing special really. It's kind of just the same stuff you've been seeing. There's about like 3 to 4 like player phantoms, and then 1 of like the ghost like guys, yeah, that guy. And they're pretty easy to take down too. And then, yeah, no, the lamp is just all the way back behind those 3, and then there's 1 more between the door going to, like, you'll see in a second. I was lost here. Yeah, that guy, that's the last guy, and then the door behind it is where the drop down is to Dark Lurker. Moving on. After finally making it to Dark Lurker, this was my first time actually fighting the guy. Well, this wasn't my first time. This is my first playthrough I fought him. This was probably my 3rd attempt. The fight was pretty dragged out. Granted, he didn't really take a lot of damage from my dark orbs, and I didn't think he could be poisoned. I don't even think I had dark fog on my person, so I don't think I could have poisoned him if I wanted to. Knowing, I honestly, if he can be poisoned, that would have probably been a great way to take him down, because you could poison both clones and just do double the poison damage at a given time, which would be insane. But I would be shocked if you could actually poison them. It feels like a boss that you just wouldn't be able to poison. But yeah, no. After finally getting the rhythm down of dodging both of them at the same time, I eventually got them down. But this was definitely a fun, hard fight. Moving on. Alright guys, I know this video has been a doozy, but we're on the way out, guys. Lock in. We're on to the DLCs. Alana's up first. Nothing too crazy. I was able to get really lucky here and didn't have Veldstat spawn, which is basically like the win condition you need for this fight. Because if Veldstat spawns, you're definitely just going to have to sink a lot of your time, and for me, your resources into killing him. Because I only have a certain amount of spellcast here. Like, if I have to spend like 20 to kill Veldstat, it's probably not 20, but it's quite a bit, because he is tanky. But losing that many casts on a fight that's already kind of close isn't really what I need to be doing. So it's definitely really good that I got just majority skeletons the whole time. And so I was able to like not have to spend too much to get rid of them. But I mean, at this point I had like 80 dark orbs, but as you can see, I am like running low on dark orbs by the end of the fight. Like, at this point I only have like 30, and I haven't even like I am fairly close to killing the boss, but it definitely isn't a comfortable range to be in. Especially because, as you can see there, I just got more skeletons to spawn in. Like, if I had Veldstat spawn once, I probably would have been out of dark orbs, and I didn't have Twilight herbs in my hotbar, so I probably would have died switching to them. So luckily, I didn't get Veldstat to spawn. Moving on. Sin was not too difficult. Honestly, this was one of the more fun fights in DS2 for me, honestly. Like, what I mainly look forward to in these runs is playing the DLCs, because those are actually, like, where the fun content is, unfortunately, for the base game. I mean, Velstat's a pretty good fight, but Velstat's also kind of easy. But, yeah, there really isn't many good fights in the main game. But, yeah, no, on to the actual fight. I use Dark Hail a lot because I could just stay like right on top of him and get extra damage for doing so. And honestly, that's probably the way you want to fight this, is just stay right next to him so he doesn't spam a bunch of ranged attacks. But after a while I get him down and I make sure to grab the crown. Moving on. Honestly, this boss fight is what makes this like the worst DLC for me. Actually, never mind. If we're gonna go by that, definitely the Duo King's Pet's the worst. But this one's second worst. This one's just really annoying. Because... But this one isn't so bad because at least if you're doing a normal run, you can usually parry the main two that chase you, and even the bow lady if she actually puts down her bow for once. But yeah. I mean... that I wasn't really able to parry, so... But luckily they're able to be poisoned, so I was able to just poison them and get both of them down to a pretty low health bar, and then I just kind of spammed knock off, what's his name? Havel's his name. Yeah, knock off Havel. But yeah, no. And then I killed the Afflicted Grave Robber, knock off Havel, and met the same fate shortly after. Moving on. I'm gonna be honest, I would have forgot about this fight if the 5 humanity wasn't outside the door, because I was low on humanity. As you can see, I was stuck at half health. And yeah, this guy wasn't too hard, but I definitely would have just forgotten this guy existed if it wasn't for the 5 humanity. So thank you for the 5 humanity. And now with a full health bar, this guy is able to go down fairly quickly. And I'm actually able to tank some of his attacks because he hits pretty hard. Like, as you can see, like he chunks, like with those like big swipe attacks, he chunks your health with that. So being at half health, that had basically one-shot me every time I was hit with it. So that was like impossible to deal with. But as soon as I wasn't getting one shot every time I was hit, it wasn't too bad. I was able to, because I was doing good damage for sure. It's just getting one shot, that's just like the worst in these games. But after a while, Ava was able to go down. Moving on. Now at this point I was having trouble with the old Ivory King, mainly with the intro section, because I would just like try to be shooting Dark Orbs and then all of the Chaos Knights would jump me. So I decided I would just take on the other DLC at least for a little bit, get some more levels, and then go back into that fight. Right now, I'm taking on Fume Knight, as you can see. This is honestly one of my favorite fights in the game. This is like, honestly, well, this is what makes... Honestly, I don't know. I kind of like Sirloin more. I was going to say, I would almost say that he's better than Sirloin, but I like the other fight a bit better. Just faster. I don't really like how delayed his attacks feel with that heavy sword, which makes sense. I definitely don't want him to be swinging it around like a regular sword. But I just don't really like it delayed attack patterns, usually. I usually like the guy to just swing at me like normal. But, I mean, luckily he didn't buff for a minute here. As you can see, I was trying to heal there because I thought he was about to buff, but then he just didn't and hit me. But luckily I was able to get back to full. But this fight can really be made easy by just backing up and shooting at him. Because while he has a wide sweep, and his sword is quite large, if you can outstep him, his attacks take so long that you can just kind of shoot at him while he's like making his way towards you, because he's generally pretty slow too. But yeah, no, he takes so long to recover from some of his attacks that's honestly the best strat, especially in Phase 2 when he has generally slower attacks. But yeah, no, that brings down Fume Knight. Moving on. Blue Smelter isn't too difficult. His attacks are very slow. He's pretty susceptible to poison for being like a big robot, I imagine. I really don't know what else he could be. But he is like actually kind of strong. But As soon as I get the poison on him, I can mainly just kind of dodge around. But, I know. And then I always just have a life gem popped because the fact that every time I cast I lose 30 HP and being near the boss just decreases your health slowly. I just find it good to always have the passive healing from a life gem. Because his attacks are pretty predictable that if you've, like, played this game enough, you usually don't get, like, hit and caught in a combo that almost kills you like that. But, luckily I was able to weasel my way out of that one, so I didn't die. But, yeah, no, this wasn't too hard. But, definitely is quite the long fight, though. I don't actually know why I didn't use poison here. I really thought I would. But, I mean, if you saw the first one, they probably used the exact same code, but changed the color slider to blue instead of red. So, you know the other Smelter Demon can get poisoned, too. So, honestly, what I would have done differently here is actually had Dark Fog equipped. Same thing with Burnt Ivory King, but I wasn't sure whether or not he could be poisoned, and I didn't bother checking. So I probably should have, but moving on. After getting some more levels and equipment, I went back to the old Chaos to see if I could finally kill the Burnt Ivory King, because he was giving me a lot of trouble, especially this section, because this section is where, one, I lost quite a lot of my spell cast. That usually I would also, like, even though I was only using Dark Orb, I would pop a herb, because Dark Orb was the only thing I was using anyway. Like, I wasn't really using Dark Hail this fight. Like, I'd occasionally use it on some of the knights, but I didn't really use it on the Burnt Ivory King, because I really felt like he wasn't large enough to really get all of the pellets to connect like I wanted to. So I didn't really bother doing that. But here, luckily I was able to get to the boss with a knight that had solid health, and quite a bit of life gems too. But this guy was quite a doozy, but luckily he just went for the knight first, so I was able to get a free chunk of damage on the big guy. And luckily, up to this point, honestly, really, I mainly died on the section to get to the Burnt Ivory King. I didn't really ever die to the, like, I died like twice to the actual boss. But most of my deaths were actually just getting to the boss, because that entrance section is just so annoying. But actually getting to the boss wasn't awful. It definitely took me a while because I was playing this really safe. Like, I wouldn't attack unless, like, I attacked as soon as I could, because I didn't want to, like, attack too late and then end up just getting, like, hit by the next attack because I couldn't dodge in time. So I just ended up, and then I would just spam life gems when given the chance, just so I would always be topped up on health. But after a lot of health spamming and all that jazz, I finally killed him. Moving on to the final boss. On to my favorite fight of the game, Sir Elan. This fight's definitely the best by far, except for his charge attack that has a varying timer, which I just hate, because the whole skill in this game is that the attacks have a certain timing and you have to know them to be able to dodge them. But having one that can just kind of come out in a range of seconds sometimes just gets you screwed up. Because I usually just dodge as soon as his sword hits, like, the lowest position for the charge, because that's usually when he's about to charge. But sometimes he'll, like, wait a half second, and that's enough for me to finish my roll before he charges and just slashes me anyway. And then he also has a fair amount of health too, so this fight is fairly long, but it is a good fight for sure. I definitely enjoy it because this feels more like what you would see in some of the layer bosses with, like, attacking speeds and all that. Except for that varying charge, I hate that, but yeah. This fight is really, really fun, and it definitely is fun to learn, but honestly, I'd say it kind of gets harder when you use magic. Like, I'd honestly rather use melee, because it's better to stay close to this guy for sure, so he just doesn't do a bunch of charge attacks. But with how long some of the spell takes, I don't want him to get a quick attack off and just get me killed. So I try to stay at, like, somewhat distance behind him, because he does take quite a while to turn around. So honestly, the best times I would attack is when he's like mid-attack and you aren't in his attack range at all, so you can just throw a Dark Orb out, or if you're directly behind him, because he takes quite a while to turn around. So being behind him is probably the best time you can get your attacks out. And then also, I would not do any, like if you're in a, I would not roll in front of him at all, especially at a distance, because as you like saw a little bit ago, if you like roll in front of him and then like try to heal, he's just gonna instantly dash attack and hit you. And so just try to like stay behind him as much as you can. That's really how you win here. But that's really how you win on any Souls boss, is just stay out of their like attack range. Just make sure they can't hit you. That's kind of the basic strategy here. But it definitely is very good to just stay behind Sir Alon so he cannot hit you. But yeah, no, I mean, that is about it for the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy watching this, and if you did, and I know this one was this one was quite long. I know 50 minutes is quite the commitment. I didn't think it was going to be this long, but I didn't put it all in 4 times anymore. So I really hope you did enjoy the longer length. I hope you guys actually do watch to the end, and if you did watch to the end, I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.